Every coffee chat I've had with a business analyst in the last 6 months starts the same way. A nervous laugh. Is AI going to take my job? And then almost always the same second question, because I have been applying for roles and nothing is landing. And I don't know if it's the market or my resume or me. Here's the truth. It's probably all three, and none of them are what you think. Today, I'm going to answer both of those questions, the AI one and the resume one. And I'm going to connect them because they are connected. By the end of this video, you will know exactly where AI is changing the business analyst role, what that means for how you position yourself, and what your resume needs to say right now to reflect the new reality. This is a longer video. Stay with me. Hi, I'm Jules, Senior Business Analyst, over a decade in finance and fintech, and founder of Solstice HQ, a career acceleration platform for BA and PM professionals. I work with BAs every week. I see the job market in real time. I read the briefs. I know what hiring managers are asking for right now, and I've reviewed hundreds of BA resumes across finance, fintech, and technology. In almost every case of a professional who is not getting interviews, the same two things are broken: their understanding of what the market now values and the way their resume communicates it. This video fixes both. If you're transitioning into BA from another field, say operations, finance, project management, consulting, stay with me. Everything in here applies to you. And the second half will show you exactly how to build a resume that positions you as a business analyst before you have ever held the title. And if you're already a BA, mid-level or senior, actively searching, stay with me too, because your resume has its own set of problems. And they're costing you interviews even in a market that needs what you offer. Here is the structure. Part one is the AI reality check, not the version designed to comfort you, not the version designed to scare you. The actual practitioner read of what AI is doing to the BA role right now, what it is taking, what it genuinely cannot touch, and what that means for where your value needs to sit. Part two is the resume fix, the 7-second test, the ATS problem, the language audit, before and after examples for both a career transitioner and an experienced business analyst. And I'm going to connect them at the end with one framework. That framework ties the AI shift directly to how you need to write your resume in this market, not the market from 3 years ago. Stay through to part two. That is where this becomes immediately actionable. Let me start part one with something that I think a lot of people in this space are dancing around. AI is not coming for your job. It is coming for the parts of your job you probably do not enjoy anyway. Let me show you what I mean. Here are the BA tasks that AI is already automating, or will automate within the next 12 months to 18 months. Recurring reports, the weekly status updates, the monthly MI pack, the dashboard that gets refreshed every Friday morning. If it follows a predictable structure, AI can generate it. Tasks that used to consume 40 to 60% of an analyst's time are now being reduced to 10 to 20%, including validation time. That is not a small shift. Basic data gathering and cleaning, pulling data from systems, standardizing formats, merging data sets, handling missing values. AI handles this reliably now. If this is a significant part of your current role, you need to hear that clearly. First draft requirements documentation. AI can take a meeting recording or a set of stakeholder notes and produce a structured first draft of a business requirements document. It will not be perfect, but it will be 60 to 70% of the way there. The human work is now in the editing, the challenging, and the validating, not the blank page. Standard process documentation. If the process is well-defined and follows a known pattern, AI can map it, as is flows from system data, basic SOPs from procedure notes. Now, here is where I want to be precise with you. None of this means the BA role is disappearing. What it means is that the role is being pushed upward. The BAs being displaced are the ones whose entire value was in executing these tasks. The BAs becoming more valuable are the ones whose value was always in the judgment, the strategy, and the relationships sitting above and around those tasks. The question is, which one describes you right now? That is worth sitting with honestly. Because here's the other side of this, and this is the part that most of the noise around this topic is missing completely. There are 4 things AI genuinely cannot do in a BA context. I'm not saying this to comfort you. I'm saying it because I've watched AI tools attempt all 4 of this and fall short every single time. Number 1, AI cannot challenge a stakeholder's assumptions. One of the most critical skills a BA can develop is the courage and the credibility to ask, why are we building this? And does this actually solve the user's problem? AI can generate the question, it cannot deliver it in a room where a senior executive has already decided the answer. It cannot read the politics, navigate the hierarchy, and find the right moment and the right framing to push back on something that the organization is about to get badly wrong. That is a human skill. It requires trust built over time, emotional intelligence, and professional courage. AI has none of those 3 things. Number 2, AI cannot manage a stakeholder relationship. Business runs on trust. It runs on the phone call that happens before the formal meeting, the conversation that changes the direction of a project. The moment where you read that a key sponsor is losing confidence and you act on it before anyone else has noticed. AI can document the relationship. It cannot have it. Number 3, AI cannot explain the why. This is precise and important. AI is exceptional at showing you what happened in the data. It cannot tell you why the sales dropped in one region but not another. It cannot explain why a project that looked successful has left the business with a system nobody will use. The why requires context. It requires organizational knowledge. It requires someone who was in the room when the decision was made 6 months ago and remembers what was said off the record. AI shows the what. Business analysts explain the why. And in business, the why is what drives decisions. Number 4, AI cannot be accountable. When an AI-generated requirements document misses a critical business rule and the project goes live with a defect that costs the organization money, someone has to own that. That someone is human. Organizations are discovering right now that AI can produce outputs at speed, but the accountability for those outputs in terms of the validation, the contextual checking, the challenge of the edge cases still requires a human with expertise and judgment. The senior business analyst is becoming more important, not less. This is precise because someone needs to be the person who ensures the AI output is actually right. That is not a support role. That is a strategic one. Now, here is where I want to connect part 1 to part 2 because everything I've just said about AI has a direct implication for what your resume needs to say. The tasks AI is automating are the tasks most business analyst resumes are full of. For example, reporting, documentation, data gathering, process mapping, outputs, deliverables, things you produced. The things AI cannot do, AI cannot challenge assumptions. It cannot manage relationships. It cannot explain the why. AI cannot own accountability. These are almost never on a BA resume because they are hard to quantify, because they feel like soft skills, because nobody taught us that these are the things hiring managers are now looking actively for. Your resume is probably optimized for the markets that no longer exist in the same form it did 3 years ago. The second half of this video is about building a resume for the markets that exist right now. I have a free resource at Solstice HQ called the BA Resume Audit Checklist. It covers everything in part 2 of this video, built specifically for both career transitioners and experienced BAs, and it includes before and after examples you can use as templates. It is completely free. The link is below this video. Grab it now and use it as your guide through the second half. Part 2, the resume fix. And I want to start with a number, 7. That is the number of seconds the average recruiter spends on the first read of your resume. 7 seconds to decide, yes pile or no pile. Not 7 minutes, Not 7 paragraphs, 7 seconds, which means your name, your headline, and your summary have to earn the next 7 seconds. Here's what most people put out there. The transitioner's version: motivated professional with 8 years of experience in financial services operations, seeking to transition into a business analyst role. The recruiter reads seeking to transition and immediately thinks, this person is not a business analyst yet, which means hiring them is a risk, which means they move to the next resume. Now, the experienced business analyst version: results-driven business analyst with 10 years of experience in various industries, proficient in multiple methodologies, seeking a challenging new opportunity. What a recruiter hears when they read that: nothing. Results-driven, every resume says that. Various industries, tells me nothing about your specialism. Challenging new opportunity, tells me what you want, not what you offer. Here's what both summaries need to do. Answer one question in 2 sentences or fewer. What do you do, for whom, and what is the result? For the transitioner, an example will be business analyst with 8 years in financial services operations, specializing in process design, requirements documentation, and cross-functional stakeholder engagement across regulatory environments. No mention of transitioning, no apology. A clear, confident statement of what you do and where you do it best. For the experienced business analyst, senior business analyst with 10 years in finance and fintech, delivering requirements-led transformation across digital banking, regulatory compliance, and core systems implementation. Proven track record at CIBC, TD, and Scotiabank. Specific sector, specific deliverables, specific organizations. That summary ends the next 7 seconds. That is the difference between a yes pile and a no pile. Now, even a perfect summary will not save you if your resume never reaches a human at all. This is the part nobody talks about enough, and it is eliminating qualified candidates before anyone reads a word. Most organizations of scale run every resume through an ATS before it reaches a recruiter. The ATS scans for keywords that match the job description. If your resume does not hit a threshold, typically 60 to 7% match, it is filtered out automatically. No human ever sees it. For the transitioner, your resume is written in the language of your old role: operations language, finance language, project management language. The ATS is scanning for BA language: requirement elicitation, gap analysis, user stories, BPMN, stakeholder mapping, SDLC, Agile, UAT. If those words are not in your resume, you do not get through, even if you've been doing all of those things just under different names. The fix: take the job description of the role you're applying for and read it like a checklist. Find where you have done each function in your career and rewrite that bullet point using their language, not fabrication, translation. For the experienced BA, your ATS problem is entirely different. You probably have the right keywords somewhere in your resume, but they may be buried 3 pages in or at the bottom in the skills section. In the skills section where ATS systems often do not weight heavily. The fix: front load your keywords. Your summary, your first role, and your first 3 bullet points need to contain the highest weight keywords from the job description. The ATS reads top to bottom and weights earlier content more heavily. And on page length, unless you are applying for a contract role that requires full project history, your resume should be 2 pages maximum. Recruiters do not read page 3, trust me. Tighten it. The goal is not to list everything you have done. The goal is to make the right things impossible to miss. Part 3 of the resume fix is where this gets very specific, because it's not just about what you put in your resume, it's about the exact words you use. And some of the words most people think are strong are actively working against them. Number 1, weak verbs: assisted with requirements gathering, supported the project team, involved in stakeholder meetings, assisted, supported, involved. These words position you as a passenger on someone else's project. Replace them with ownership verbs like elicited and documented business requirements for a $2 million core banking migration, facilitated weekly stakeholder workshops with cross-functional teams of up to 15, led gap analysis across 3 business units, identifying $400,000 in process inefficiencies. 1, ownership verb: you did it. 2, scale or scope. How big? How many? What was the value? 3, outcome or result. What happened because of what you did? Every bullet point in your resume needs all 3. Number 2, generic skills listings. Proficient in Microsoft Office, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. Every professional on earth lists Microsoft Office. It takes up space and tells the recruiter nothing. If Excel is genuinely relevant, be specific. For instance, build dynamic financial models in Excel to support business case development for regulatory compliance initiatives. Now, Excel is evidence of a skill, not just a claim. Number 3, specifically for transitioners, seeking to transition into business analysis, looking to leverage my transferable skills, hoping to move into a BA role. Delete every single one of these phrases: seeking, hoping, looking to leverage. The signal that you're not yet what you're claiming to be. You do not seek to be a business analyst. You are a business analyst. Your resume should reflect that from the first word. Number 4, for experienced BAs, responsible for requirement gathering, responsible for stakeholder management, responsible for UAT coordination. Responsible for is one of the weakest phrases in a resume. It tells me what your job description said. It does not tell me what you actually delivered. Replace every responsible for with what you actually did and what the outcome was. For example, defined and managed end-to-end requirements for a core system replacement delivered on time across a 9-month program. This is a sentence that earns an interview. And here's the connection back to part 1. Notice something. The weak phrases describe execution. The tasks AI is automating. Assisted, supported, responsible for, produced. The strong phrases describe judgment, the things AI cannot do. Challenged, defined, facilitated, led, translated, delivered. Your resume should read like a document written by the BA that AI cannot replace, because that is who you are. And it's your resume, and it is time your resume said so. Let me show you what all of this looks like in practice. Here's a before and after based on the kind of profile I see from career transitioners every week. Before, motivated professional with 8 years in financial services operations, seeking to transition into a business analyst role. Responsible for supporting process improvement initiatives, assisted project teams with documentation and reporting, involved in stakeholders meetings and status updates. After, business analyst with 8 years in financial services operations, specializing in process analysis, requirements documentation, and regulatory compliance environments. Led end-to-end process redesign for client onboarding workflow, reducing processing time by 35% and eliminating 3 manual handoff points. Facilitated cross-departmental working groups to define business requirements for a new CRM implementation, producing user stories, acceptance criteria, and a full traceability matrix. Documented as-is and to-be process flows using BPMN notation for a regulatory reporting project impacting 4 business lines. Same person, same experience, completely different story, and a completely different signal about which side of the AI shift this candidate is on. And for my experienced BAs, here is yours. Before, results-driven senior business analyst with 10 years of experience across various industries, responsible for requirements gathering, stakeholder management, and UAT coordination, proficient in Agile, Waterfall, and Microsoft Office suite. After, senior business analyst, finance and fintech, 10 years, delivering requirements-led digital transformation across core banking regulatory compliance and payment infrastructure. Defined business and functional requirements for a $4 million digital banking platform serving 200,000 retail customers, delivered on scope across a 12-month program. Managed stakeholder engagement across C-suite operations and technology teams for a group-wide regulatory compliance initiative, achieving sign-off from 7 business owners across 3 jurisdictions. Conducted UAT across 4 integrated systems, producing test scripts, defect logs, and sign-up documentation for a payment modernization program. This is a resume that gets read. This is a resume that gets a callback. And that is a resume that signals to the hiring manager this person operates above the level AI can reach. The experience did not change. The way it was told completely transformed. Before I close, I want to bring both parts of this video together into one clear framework you can act on today. 3 actions specific in order of priority. 1. Run the AI audit on your current role. List everything you do. Mark honestly which of those things AI can already do to a reasonable standard. The items that remain unmarked, the stakeholder challenges, the relationship management, the judgment calls, the accountability moments, those are your competitive advantage. Build your resume around those, not the others. 2. Run the 7-second test on your resume today. Read only your name, headline, and summary. Does it tell a recruiter exactly what you do, where you do it best, and what you've delivered? If it uses words like seeking, hoping, responsible for, or various industries, rewrite it before you send another application. 3. Download the free BA Resume Audit Checklist at Solstice HQ. It is built for both career transitioners and experienced BAs. It walks through every point in part 2 of this video with a step-by-step checklist and before and after examples. The link is below this video. If you want to do all of this with expert support behind you, if you're transitioning into BA for the first time, the Foray program at Solstice HQ is where we build your resume, your positioning, and your full BA transition strategy from the ground up. If you're an experienced BA ready to position yourself for the market that exists right now, the Career Accelerator is where we do that work together, with coaching, structure, and accountability at every stage. Both programs are at solsticehq.io. Links are below. If this video was useful, please hit like. It genuinely helps this reach the BA who needs this right now. And subscribe because next week I'm covering the 5 BA interview questions that separate the candidates who get offers from the ones who leave thinking it went well. That one goes live on Friday. I'm Jules Ijere, and this is Solstice HQ. AI is not your competition. It is the argument for why what you do actually matters. And your resume is the place where you start making that argument.